Hi, I'm Carey Campbell, and welcome to Green Party Green TV, where we focus on Green Party candidates, independent Green Party candidates, and Green New Deal, eco-positive solutions for the economy, solar jobs, wind jobs, geothermal jobs, rail jobs. Welcome to the show, ladies. With me today, two outstanding Greens in Virginia. Dr. Audrey Clement is running as the independent Green Party endorsed candidate for Arlington County School Board. Of course, Audrey Clement has been a towering figure in Green Party politics now for over a decade in Virginia. And Dianne Blais, who along with her son, Jerry Blais, made history this year in Virginia in 2014, being the first mother-son team on the ballot for Congress. Dianne in the 10th district and Jerry Blais in the 8th district. Ladies, thank you so much for coming out so we can talk about the Green Party politics. Dr. Clement, if we could start with you, please. Born, grew up where?
Well, I grew up in Pittsburgh. I went to school at the University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia. I lived in Philadelphia for 20 years, and I came down here when I got interested in working for the government.
Now, you're carrying around that big PhD. For a fellow who only did graduate school at the University of Kentucky in accounting, you know, that PhD speaks a lot. Where did you do that, and what did you learn? What did you write your thesis about?
Well, I got my PhD from Temple University in Philadelphia. My dissertation was on the Congressional Black Caucus, its representational role, and in preparation for writing that, I spent a year working on the Hill for the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation. I served as basically as staff for one of the Black congresspersons who headed up a House subcommittee on special education. And after I completed my dissertation, I came back to Washington looking for employment. My area of specialization was in polling. And I was interested in finding work with a pollster. I interviewed with Democratic pollsters and did not do well, because by that time my loyalty to the two-party system had already seriously deteriorated. And I have been voting independently since 1989, actually. Or sorry, 1992 with Ross Perot.
Now, I remember Ross. I remember gathering petition signatures to get Ross on the ballot, Dianne. Was there any particular personality or any particular Green Party policy or Green Party person who attracted you to the Green Party, Dianne?
Well, Ralph Nader, I think, he was the first person to run for president. So I just admire him that he's going strong now. He was going around the country just a few months ago trying to raise the minimum wage, trying to get that in effect, trying to get people to rally behind and get Congress to raise the minimum wage. And he recently he came out with a book about the unionizing or uniting the left and the right. And he had a all-day panel in DC on that. So, and he has camps you can go to, and I just admire him particularly.
He's incredibly diligent.
Yes.
Dr. Clement, the personality or policy that attracted you and fascinated you and energized you to the Green Party?
Well, I share Dianne's admiration for Ralph Nader, but what got me to join the Green Party was an interest in environmental politics and the fact that there were no Green Party presidential candidates on the ballot in Virginia in 2004. I voted Libertarian that year, but I'm an environmentalist at heart, so I joined the party to assure that there would be Green Party presidential candidates on the ballot thereafter. As far as politicians that I admire a lot, the politician in my life who affected me the most was a Democrat. His name was William H. Gray III. He was the congressman from Philadelphia for many years. He rose in rank to become House Minority Leader, and subsequently retired from public life in 1992, much to my disappointment. But I like Gray because, as a black man, he was also a unifier. He unified both houses of Congress to adopt a balanced budget.
And for me, if I may, even as host, to answer that question, the person that attracted me and who I met when I was in the Air Force in Europe in the 70s, U.S. Air Force in Europe in the 1970s, was this woman, Petra Kelly, co-founder of the Green Party, incredibly charismatic. And for me, raised as a Southern Baptist, her nonviolence is what so greatly appealed to me. And also being a military man, I developed an even deeper appreciation of the need for nonviolence, the need for practicing politics, Green Party politics of nonviolence. So Petra Kelly, great figure.
So nonviolence was what led you to the Green Party?
Yes, well, Mama taught that, and my mother, and of course my grandfather, who was a preacher. Now, Audrey, let's, if we can, talk a little bit about the school board in Arlington County. You, as a Arlington County school board candidate, what, again, got you off the couch, on the ballot, in the debate, helping to define the debate of the issues? What are the issues and the policies?
The burning issue in Arlington County right now is a classroom capacity crisis driven by dramatically rising enrollments. This is not a unique phenomenon. It's in progress all over Northern Virginia. And I was deeply concerned about the inadequacy of the school board's response to this crisis. The response to this crisis was the adoption in July of this past year, a 10-year capital budget that allocates almost $450 million to produce 4,000 additional classroom seats. But it also includes a deficit of 2,500 seats. In other words, 2,500 seats are still needed beyond the 4,000 planned. And the reason why they aren't going to be constructed is because the school board is up against a debt limit. If they borrow any more money to do this, their debt rating will fall. And they will be unable to borrow money at the same rate in the future. So what I am advocating for is essentially a budget that will stretch the tax dollars already put on the table to provide the 6,500 seats that are needed rather than the 4,000 that are planned.
Folks, if you're just tuning in, of course, this is Green Party Green TV, and we're thrilled you're here. This is Dr. Audrey Clement, a longtime Green Party leader in the state of Virginia and school board candidate in Arlington County, and Dianne Blais, the independent Green Party's historic mother part of the mother-son team running for Congress in 2014 in Virginia. You sound very much, Dr. Clement, here like a Green Party fiscal conservative. Is that fair?
Right. I was a fiscal conservative before I became Green, but I became an even more of a fiscal conservative after I became Green for the simple reason that because the Green Party does not accept corporate donations, it only survives by virtue of its frugality.
Dianne Blais, would you describe yourself also as a green fiscal conservative?
I think some people might not, but I do, because actually someone came up to me after a meet and greet and asked me about that. And they said, you don't sound like you're that fiscally conservative. And I said, but when we build a train, for every dollar that we invest in it, we get $20. So that really is fiscally conservative. So,
as a military man, and we might just talk about this for a moment, Dianne, the one thing I know in other conversations that we've had is your concern about the need for an auditable accounting system at the Pentagon, which is also fiscally conservative. Of course, the Pentagon being one of only 2 of the 24 federal agencies that cannot provide auditable financial statements. And the need for bringing tax and troop dollars home from overseas. Maybe you could talk about that a bit.
Well, that's one of my main issues, is that I think we just have too much money that we're spending overseas. We have all these bases throughout the world. We have these drones that are killing so many people, so many innocent people. And so we just really need to rein back our expenses.
Now, shifting, Audrey, if we can, back to your school board race in Arlington County, are there other things that people in the community, as you run for school board, as a Green Party member and an independent Green Party endorsed candidate, that people talk to you and say they're worried about, they're concerned about, that need positive change?
Well, first I want to correct you. I'm actually running as an independent,
Correct.
though I am a Green Party member.
Which is what I said.
I was not endorsed by the local Green Party.
You were endorsed by the independent Green Party.
That is true. The reason why I failed to get the local Green Party endorsement is because this is my 5th time running. And the party decided basically that I was a 4-time loser and that I shouldn't run again. Their philosophy is you run a couple times, like, well, the major parties, so-called major parties. The corporate parties will run a candidate usually once or twice, and that's it. You know, if you...
My question, Audrey, was the policy issues for
Yes.
Arlington County School Board. What are people telling you they want you to do as the Green Party member or independent Green Party endorsed candidate for school board when you get elected? What do they want fixed? What do they want changed? Can Johnny read?
Well, the Arlington schools have a reputation for academic excellence. So that's not the primary focus. Although parents of disadvantaged students, their kids aren't performing as well, and they do have concerns. But they don't. A lot of those folks aren't voting, so they don't express, at least in the meetings that I've attended, as much concern as they probably should. The real concern of parents right now is the siting of the new schools in the district. The neighborhoods are pitted against one another.
For resources or budgeting?
Basically, the county is already undergoing gentrification and densification. There's a lot of congestion, and most neighborhoods don't want new schools in their neighborhood. Okay, so the neighborhoods are all polarized, they're fighting with each other. The school board has basically lost control of the situation. Now, I've attempted to say, I said at last Thursday's school board meeting that the parents' focus is wrong. They shouldn't be fighting over where to site the schools. They should be confronting the school board over the fact that the numbers with which to make an informed decision are not available to them. In other words, the school board staff basically greets the parents with a fait accompli. The parents have no way to challenge the decisions that have been made by the staff because the data aren't there. There is a lack of transparency in the way both the school board and the county board conduct their business. Now, of course, they challenge that. They say, no, we are having all these public meetings. But these meetings are carefully orchestrated. For example, the only meetings the only meetings at which the public can actually address their peers are the statutorily required monthly school board and county board meetings. But the other meetings and the workshops that they convene are public speaking is not allowed. You may simply address, you may listen, and you may address your questions to the staff. And the staff will then do their best, presumably, to answer those questions.
Audrey, just a couple of quick things that off the top of my head, I don't know about the Arlington County School Board. As a Green Party member, independent Green Party candidate running for Arlington County School Board, this is Dr. Audrey Clement, in case you just turned in. That's Dianne Blais, independent Green Party and Green Party member candidates. How many people are on the school board in Arlington County?
There are 5 school board members by law, but this year, interestingly enough, for a good part of the year, there were only 4, and at one point there were only 3. And that's because these school board members, I think, are experiencing burnout themselves by these long, drawn-out sessions that resolve little, if anything. I
had that impression, quite honestly, in the meetings I've been to. Very highly qualified people, but a lot of pressure in that job. Hats off to you for the courage to be thinking about doing it, Dr. Clement. Average class size in Arlington County, my guess would be, what, 28, 29 kids a classroom?
Now you've raised a big sticking point. One of the reasons why Arlington's costs are going through the ceiling is because we have one of the lowest ratios of pupil to teacher in all of Northern Virginia. Our current high school ratio is 19.5.
Well, that's outstanding, isn't it?
Well, I don't think that's outstanding. I think just the opposite. Fairfax County has a ratio of 25.
So you're coming at it from a fiscally conservative perspective, if I'm following you,
Yes,
and you're saying
yes.
that we don't have to spend as much money as we're spending and still get a positive result. That's
correct.
a very brave position to take against little Tommy's mom.
Well, and as a matter of fact, I've gotten considerable pushback from parents on that issue.
Right.
But I certainly wouldn't take a meat cleaver to the ratio.
Right.
I would be very cautious about it.
Right.
For example, I wouldn't touch the elementary and middle school arrangement. I would look at the high school arrangement, because it is argued, at least by some academics, that the older a student gets, the less he needs individual attention from the teacher. And certainly that's true in college. I don't think anyone would dispute that.
Now we have we're running out of time already. Dr. Clement, I told you you'd like to talk, and you're good at it. And Dianne Blais. So I want to take this great opportunity to talk a little about the Green Party, absolute riches in candidates across the nation in 2014. And I know that one of the Green Party candidates in 2014 that we both loved watching has been Howie Hawkins, the governor candidate in New York. Why do you like the Green Party's Howie Hawkins?
Well, I have a very selfish reason for liking Howie. He's actually a 17-time loser. He has run for public office 17 times. And it is through his previous runs for office that he has attained the name recognition that he has statewide. He's now polling 10% in New York State, which is phenomenal.
We always say that participating is winning. In the debate is defining the debate. So if you have a green on the ballot and participating. But you're absolutely right. And I know, the Independent Green Party has hundreds of candidates that we've endorsed or supported or run over the years. And most people, as you know, Dr. Clement, won't run for office, sadly. And we urge people all the time, we need more green candidates, less apathy. And we urge them to run all the time. And what we find is many folks one and done if they run. And there's so much to know. And you're absolutely correct, Dr. Clement, that Howie Hawkins is one of the nation's best politicians, in my view, and certainly in the Green Party. And his performance in the debates were sterling. His amount of knowledge and detail is amazing. He is going to be I would say, a blessing, Howie Hawkins, the Green Party, to the body politic in New York and the nation when he is elected, and I'm certain that he will be. Is there something else you wanted to add about him?
Yes. One of the things that his detractors has said about me and about Howie Hawkins, that is people who have run and lost, is that they're only in it for their ego. Yet, it's already been demonstrated that that can't possibly be true. For example, in 2000,
it's very hard to run for office.
In 2010, Howie Hawkins ran for governor of New York State.
Yeah.
Now, he didn't get the same percentage of vote then that he's going to get
Won
now.
ballot status.
But he won ballot status for the Green Party presidential candidate in New York State, and I represent to you that that was a selfless act. And he's going to do the same thing this year, such that there will be a Green Party presidential candidate on the ballot in New York State that would otherwise either not be on the ballot or would struggle mightily to achieve that goal. Howie Hawkins is basically doing it for the New York State Party and indirectly for the National Party. Now, to me, that's a selfless act, not a selfish act.
And other Green Party candidates, I'm looking for our list right here, right now, I apologize. Other Green Party candidates in the nation you like, please tell us about it.
Well, I'm extremely fond of Mark Swaney. He's a personal friend of mine.
What's he running for, where?
He's running as the Green Party candidate for U.S. Senate against Mark Pryor in the state of Arkansas. And he was featured in a debate among the 4 candidates running for Senate in that state just about, I guess, was it a week ago? And he was not only authoritative, he was erudite. He was the only candidate at the podium who was talking substance. If you want me to elaborate on that?
Well, you want to talk about, you had another candidate, I think.
Yes. Well, there's Nancy Wade, who's running for Congress in Illinois.
Green Party of Illinois.
Yes, and she just got the endorsement of the Illinois independent voters, or the independent voters of Illinois. And that is considered to be a major coup in that part of the world.
Dianne Blais, Green Party candidates or independent Green Party candidates that you have enjoyed in 2014.
Are in Virginia.
In Virginia.
So,
all right, so can we run through all of them?
Sure, that would be great.
Gail Farrell Parker in the 1st Congressional District, John Smith in the 2nd Congressional District. Now we're talking about independent Green Party candidates. In the 3rd Congressional District, Justin Galden. In the 4th, Colonel Albert Burkhart. In the 5th, Dr. Ken Hildebrand. In the 6th, Elaine Hildebrand, the retired school teacher, all independent Green Party candidates. In the 7th District, Tariq Salahi. In the 8th District, a young man you know.
Yes, my son.
And his name is?
Jerry Blais.
Jerry Blais, the 8th Congressional District. In the 9th, we've got the conservative independent William Marr. In the 10th Congressional District, a lady you know, Dianne Blais, the independent Green Party candidate in the 10th. And of course, in the 11th is the Green Party candidate, Dr. Joe Galdo, endorsed by the independent Green Party. And that is the full slate of independent Green Party candidates for Congress this year. What other candidates would you have?
Well, I like the Hildebrands. They're campaigning on a very interesting platform, which is hemp, commercialization of hemp, that it could be allowed to.
Job creator. Job creator, business.
Major economy boost. And that kind of fits in with legalization of marijuana, but that is one of their major platforms, which is an interesting take.
And of course, the Green New Deal is something that Howie Hawkins is running on. And the Green New Deal specifically, and of course, independent Greens and Greens discuss it. Eco jobs for the economy, solar jobs, wind jobs, geothermal jobs, rail jobs. And when we talk about rail in the independent Green Party, Dianne Blais, what are we talking about?
Rail?
Rail.
We want all kinds of rail. We want high-speed rail across the country and between states. And we want local mass transit. So all kinds of rail. And there's some new things being developed that we really need to pursue. And as Gail has stressed, it would be nice if it was American companies who were making these trains and not everyone from all over the world but Americans. So,
Dr. Audrey Clement, ND Green Party endorsed, independent candidate, Green Party member. Are all my words exactly correct, Dr.
Yes.
Clement? For Arlington County School Board, having fun on Green TV. What other candidates or any Green Party folks out there that you want to give a shout out to? Mike Feinstein, I bet.
Absolutely. Mike Feinstein is one of my all-time favorites. I think he is the most authoritative voice within the National Green Party. He's also heavily steeped in California Green politics. His whole life, in fact, is immersed in the fight against Top 2. Top 2 basically allows only the top 2 vote getters in an open primary for state office to proceed to the general election, and all but eliminates minor party candidates from the contention.
You're absolutely right, Dr. Clement, and we certainly agree there. Of course, it's another effort for those of us who are Greens, and of course, there are only 4 national parties, as we've said and noted once already on today's Green TV. And those 4 national parties are the 2 that get all the media attention. Of course, the Green Party is the only of the 4 that accepts no
Corporate money.
Dr. Clement, yes, ma'am. Mike Feinstein, I would also add, of the Green Party, running now for City Council once again in Santa Monica, California. Beautiful Santa Monica. Of course, Mike served a couple of terms on the Santa Monica City Council, was then elected mayor. One of the Kennedys is on the City Council out there, Shriver.
I didn't know that.
That's right.
Santa Monica?
That's right.
That's news to me.
And succeeded Mike, I think, at the time. And so Mike Feinstein has written eloquently in many books over the years and worked very hard to build the Green Party. And I've known him and respected him for a very long time. So Mike Feinstein is a great Green Party candidate. Some others that are very impressive, who, like me, was a friend of Patrick Kelly, Green Party founder, is Gary Swing, running for Congress in Colorado. And Gary Swing, like myself, a big advocate for nonviolence, a central tenet of the Green Party. We've got just a couple of minutes, and this is an opportunity, if we could, to talk about the enormous Green Party successes around the world. Of course, just within the last little bit, Sweden has formed a new national coalition government with 6 Green Party cabinet ministers. 2 recent state election victories by the Green Party in Austria. There are 9 what we would refer to as states in Austria, and 6 of the states, the Green Party is in each state legislature, and in 6 of the 9 states, the Green Party has governing coalitions. 16 states in Germany. The Green Party is in every state legislature there. And of course, renewable energy, in other words, the Green New Deal, is the #2 employer in Germany. Any last remarks? And we've got a few seconds. Dr. Clement.
Well, I'd like to say that I really do run for office because I enjoy it. And I know that it is absolutely necessary for more people to join me at this dais with the same idea, because that is the only way we are going to break into major party politics.
More Green Party candidates, less apathy. Dianne Blais, just a few seconds.
I agree. We want more candidates and less apathy. And the 3 mottos of the Independent Green Party,
5 seconds. More candidates, less apathy, more trains, less traffic, fiscally conservative, socially responsible. I want to thank our Green TV guest, Dr. Audrey Clement, Dianne Blais. That was Green TV. Join us again next time. I'm Carey Campbell. See ya on Green TV.